after graduating from high school in '52, I went to Stanford, and I graduated in '56. And my sister graduated from Stanford in '59. So you can see the 3 years academic there. And the irony is that my father at that point was helping build the City College of San Francisco. He stayed in education, although they lived here. He had an apartment in San Francisco. And he was doing graduate work at Coverly, which was the School of Education at Stanford. And he was trying to learn to type. And so some of my roommates would come home and say, "Your father wasn't in class today." So it was we were able to turn the tables on my father. And I did not have a car at Stanford, and I was given an allowance, and I had never managed my own money, and I ran through the money that was supposed to last me the whole academic year at Christmas. And I was mortified that I had done this, and I didn't know how to get out of it. So I wrote my father a letter. I didn't write it. I typed it on my typewriter. And in lieu of all the S's in the letter, I put $signs. And I thought, subliminal advertising might produce results. So I sent it off without asking for money, and I got a letter back from my father dictated to his secretary, and then after he signed it, he said, "P.S. before you turn in any term papers, you better get your typewriter fixed," and there was no check. So he did make up for that later on, but anyway.
What did you study at Stanford?
Would it surprise you if I told you I studied political science at Stanford? And I really wanted to study international relations, but the requirements for the IR degree left you no opportunity to take electives, and there were so many things I wanted to study. So I compromised and took political science, and it was just a bad choice, but I stuck with it, and but I got to take the other courses that I really wanted to take, so that was a good trade-off.
What drew you to that area of study?
Political science?
Or international relations, you had your brothers.
Well, I suppose it was a little bit of the fact that we traveled back and forth across the country, and I remember traveling through the South, and the whole question of black fountains and white, it was just something I couldn't comprehend. Going to Alaska and then learning all of the history of Alaska and the Russian influence and the Russian cemeteries in Sitka and some of the places we stopped. I don't know, it was just, and the war being so involved, looking toward the East, although, of course, growing up on the East Coast, you tended to be oriented toward Europe. It was just, I guess it was just a series of things. I did get into politics, campus politics, and we had what were called men's council and a women's council, and we had a very strict honor code, and so we were the arbiters of all that was honorable, I guess. And I was elected to follow Diane Goldman, who is Dianne Feinstein, one of our senators, in the campus office. So that's where I first got involved in the practice of politics. There was no payment for that or anything, but it was a campaign that you had to run.